What's up, Cardfighters? Ryan here from Vanguard Central, bringing you yet again another Royal Paladin Stride deck profile, but this one's actually a different variant. This one doesn't include Legion. This one is going to be strictly Altmile and Ashlei reverse. So Royal Paladin Stride, honestly, with the Jewel Knight variant support, it's really good. Pretty much no matter what boss card you use. Preferably, in my opinion, I like the Legion because just the fact you can send back crits late game with a restanding Vanguard is amazing. And so, but if you can't really afford the Thinksavers right now, I know they're pretty hard to get, and I think it's happening with Ashlei also right now. Ashlei's getting pretty sold out, but I'm sure you have friends or maybe you held on to Jewel Knights. It's really good, even without Thinksavers. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile, guys. For our main boss, we're going to be, of course, running 4 copies of Blue Sky Knight Altmile. And so, signed in the front, dude. So yeah, Altmile is going to be our main boss. If you guys don't already know his skill, it's Generation Break 2. During your turn, all of your units in the front will get plus 5k. And it's super good late game, so as long as you can be able to stride twice, and even if you can't stride anymore after that, your whole front row is going to be getting plus 5. So no matter what you have in the front row, it's going to be hitting for a number that's going to make your opponent drop some cards. And that's what I really like about Altmile. And then his stride break is also really good. So when you stride, you can counterblast 1 and choose up to 2 cards from your hand, call them, and then give any 2 units plus 5. You can also give your Vanguard plus 5, but ideally you want to give them to both rears over here. And then for our next boss, we're going to be running Ashlei Reverse. Ashlei Reverse is really good because if you're sitting on her, you can at least make stuff work rather than having like, before I said that Altmile wasn't good with like Thinksaver. I only think that specifically because when you can't stride with Altmile, then like what are you gonna do? And at least you have Ashlei as your backup. And so if you guys don't know her skill, it's to limit break 4, counterblast any card, and choose a rear guard with Jewel Knight and lock it, and then choose rear guard in your opponent's front row, retire it, and then search your deck for any Jewel Knight and call it to rear guard. It's really good. It keeps up with the mass retiring, and then you can still fill up your field. You can also combo it with one of the best cards in the game right now, Jewel Knight Sword Me. And let's go ahead and get to the grade 2s. And like I said, one of the best cards. Jewel Knight Sword Me, running her at 4. You want to max this out because this is what makes the deck amazing. If you guys don't know her skills, a special counterblast 1 Jewel Knight in his card name is placed on rear guard. You may search for your deck for up to 1 grade 1 or less Jewel Knight and call it to rear. And it's so good. I don't understand, like, it's so hard to get her though. I understand for some people, but I think they're selling her on TCG Player right now for about $17 or so. So if you can get your hands on her, or if you already did, then good for you, because she's amazing in pretty much any Royal Paladin deck if you're running with Jewel Knight support. And then we're going to be running 4 copies of the 12k Jewel Knight Beatstick. Fellowship Jewel Knight Tracy. So if you have 3 or more other Jewel Knight rearguard, she gets plus 3k when she attacks. And it's really good because, especially with Sword Me, it's really easy to get, and especially that our starter is actually Jewel Knight. So say you have a Vanguard or whatever, and you call it a Sword Me, you have your starter, you have the grade 1 you just called the Sword Me, and you have Sword Me. That's already another 12. That's another 3. And essentially now you have a 12k Beatstick. It's really easy to get. That's why we're maxing her out at 4, because you want to be aggressive, especially with Altmile late game, so she hits for 17 after that. And then we're going to be running 3 copies of Knight of Fragment. He's basically going to be in place of our Blaster Blade Seeker, since we're not running the Thinksaver Legion. And Knight of Fragment is really good because he helps you unflip damage if you're able to hit with Generation Break 1. So if you don't know his skill, it's during your turn. If you have 2 or more grade 2 rear guards, which is easy to get, so you can either call up, Sword Me, or basically, Tracy or Sword Me. So it's really easy to do. And then he gets plus 2,000, and then if his attack hits a Vanguard, Soul Charge 1 and unflip a damage. It's really good. And if you're wondering why I don't run Knight of Twin Sword, honestly, I don't really like him as a card because there's stuff you want to be counterblasting for, like strides for Altmile, or limit break for Ashlei, or even superior call for Sword Me, and I feel like it's way easier to do that rather than, and the thing that like Knight of the Fragment, that he has to be boosted, that's just like, I don't know, I don't really prefer Knight of Twin Sword. Knight of Fragment is probably the better choice. And then, whoops, for our grade 1s, we're going to be running 4 regular perfect guards. It's going to be the Jewel Knight perfect guards. I think these are also hard to get right now. I think they're jumping up to like 8. They used to be around 6 or so. But if you can get your hands on them, they're good. You can use the perfect guard Gs, the unflipping ones, but like I said in the previous videos for the Royal Paladin Strides, it's just a little... because the Cross and D-Police is a thing, and Commander Laurel, they can hit rear guards, you can get a free restand. Like, you're going to be wanting guarding... You're going to want to be guarding those attacks, because why are you going to give your opponent a free restand if just so that you can unflip 1 damage? It's not, honestly, it's not worth it. That's why I prefer to have the regular old school perfect guards. And it's a Jewel Knight. It helps the counterblast for Sword Me. And we're running 4 copies of the Stride Fodder. In this deck you want to be striding a lot, and I know that you're running, why are you running only 7 grade 3s? I feel like 7 grade 3s is a great ratio, especially for this meta right now, because there's a lot of cards of support that you'd want to be running rather than missing a grade 3 in your deck. And plus G-Assist is a thing, and this deck also runs 6 draw, so it's really easy to recover from G-Assist if you happen to need to G-Assist. So I feel like maxing out 4 Stride Fodders and running 7 grade 3s is good enough. And then we're going to be running 3 copies of Jewel Knight Sabrami, the Limit Break Enabler. I feel like 3 is just a great number because she's really easy to search out with Sword Me. And so, like, say if you ride onto Ashlei on your first grade 3 ride, you can easily call it out with Sword Me and then perform the Limit Break for another column. It's really, really easy to do. And I feel like 2 is way too little because, say, you damage 1 and you have to ride 1, it's like, oh, you cannot use Limit Break. Then she becomes a vanilla. So I feel like 3 is good. 4, I don't know, you can't really do 4 because you want to leave room for the other cards that I'm about to tech in, and I'll show you guys why. And we're running 2 copies of Jewel Knight Prismy. So my grade 1 lineup is pretty much almost exactly the same as my Thingsaver one, because the Jewel Knight support is super, super good. I love using Prismy late game because the fact that you can cycle through your hand like mid-battle and stuff like that, say like when you superior call with our Stride Gabblade, it's really, really good. And then also Stinging Jewel Knight Shelly, running her at 2. She's a really good tech because I enjoy doing this. Let's have an example. Let's say you had like a Sword Me here, and then I'd say your Vanguard is this dude. And then your Jewel Knight, whatever, starter. This is going to be your starter, but I'll show you guys. And so they swing at your rear, they take out your rear. And then it's like, oh no, what do I do? You just go ahead and boom, you call another Sword Me, and you go ahead and call out the Shelly. And it's like, bam, look at that, there's 3 other. Now you have a 10k beat stick. That's why it's really, really good. Yeah, that's one of the combos that I love doing. Throws people off. It's like, oh man, you can hit, especially if they're still at grade 2. It's like ultimate rush. It's awesome. And then moving on to our triggers. This deck's running 6 crit. It's gonna be the Jewel Knight crits because you want to be able to have that special counterblast for Sword Me. Woo. And it's 6 draw. Now, you do not need to have the Margot in this deck because you don't need to fill up Soul for Thingsaver anymore because he's not in the deck. And so you might as well just max out the consistency for Sword Me so that you can have those as special counterblast. And then 4 copies of Jewel Knight Helmi. Just for heal. 4 heal standard, you know. And then our starter is going to be Dreaming Jewel Knight Tiffany. Tiffany is super good because, say, you can put her into the soul. You know, let me show you an example, guys. This is probably one of the best things you can do with Tiffany. So essentially, this is what your field setup is going to look like pretty late in the game. Sorry. Let's just say you're at Generation Break 2. So now your whole front row is getting +5. Nice, solid. Now these are 12k hitters, And these are hitting for 24 now. Boom! Throw Tiffany in the soul. Choose 2 rear guards with Jewel Knight's card and give him +3. This is now hitting for 27 by itself. And then say you're on stride, you triple drive, crit power here, crit power here. Your opponent's gonna have to drop a lot of cards just to guard. That's what I love. That's why I love running Tiffany. And now moving on to our G units. We're going to be running 3 copies of Shrouded Divine Knight Gabblade. We're running Gabblade at 3. It's a really good number just because you're not going to be doing him all the time. He's really, really good early game. And then by the time your opponent gets 3-4 damage, they're probably going to be guarding. They're going to be guarding your stride attacks, you know. But 3 is good, so if you don't know your skill, it's when it attacks a Vanguard and it hits a Vanguard. Search your deck for a grade 2 or greater card, call its rear. And ideally, you're going to be wanting to call Sword Me. So basically, off the 1 counterblast, you get a 16k column. Super good. Running 1 Miracle Element Atmos, because Atmos is the bomb. Atmos, when he attacks a Vanguard, counterblast 1 gets +10. He really, really kills, and he draws out your perfect cards, your opponent's perfect cards from their hand. And if they don't have a perfect card, it destroys their hand. And then we're running 4 copies of Holy Dragon, Saint Blow Dragon. Saint Blow is honestly, I think, one of the most broken cards in the game, because if your opponent doesn't have a perfect card, if you don't know his skill, it's if you unflip another copy of him in the G zone, and then if you have 2, it gets +3000 for every rear guard, and it's really easy to get a full field in this deck. It's like ridiculous. He basically gets +15,000 and an extra crit if you have 2 or more face-up G units and 2 or more rear guards. +15k and an extra crit. He's hitting for 41 by himself on stride. Like, what? It's so good, guys. And so yeah, basically that's the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I was also thinking about teching in like stand triggers, the Jewel Knight stands, but then like I really like the 6 crit 6 draw. I'm a huge 6 crit 6 draw fan, but I feel like the stands could work since, you know, the Generation Break 2, it makes your front row hit for bigger numbers, so it's way easier to stand them. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck profile. Just leave a comment down below, and you know, like our videos, comment like I said, and subscribe if you guys want to see more. Vanguard Central out.